What if I told you you are a superhero? Hello guys, welcome to the third episode of Mindset Therapy. So the past two videos, I got an amazing response from all of you. It was such a wonderful experience. I really need all your support all through this journey, and it is such an amazing feeling when I see all your support, and I can't thank you all enough, and I'm ever so grateful for it. Now let's get into today's video. What if I told you you are a superhero? Now it must be a hard time believing me right now, because the so-called superheroes are either sleeping all day or playing Call or PUBG every day. So, that's not what superheroes do. But the truth is, you are a superhero. Now let me make you feel a little bit less special, because we all are superheroes. Now when I say we all, I mean by us as humans. Us humans, we all are superheroes sharing one superpower. Now, this superpower is what I'll be talking about in this video, and it is called choice. Now, it is a bit of a weak name for a superpower, because superpowers are usually very powerful. Their names are usually very powerful. And, but then this one's like a very calm, peaceful name for a superpower. It's called choice. But then don't underestimate it, because it is really powerful, and what makes it even more powerful is that it is shared amongst billions of people who has the complete ability to do whatever they desire to do with it. Now that is the only reason, choice is the only reason that we as humans are the dominating figures in this planet Earth. That's why we tend to feel that things are permanent for us. Those are the reasons why we have an authoritative control over most of the things which are available to us on this planet Earth. Because we decide if we want to eat meat or vegetables. We choose meat or vegetables. We choose this dress or that dress. We choose this destination or that destination. Fishes, they have to stay in the sea or in the water. Lions, even if they die of hunger, they will only eat meat, because they don't have a choice. They don't have that power of choice. Then they have ultimate strength, which we as humans don't have. Even though they have that much strength, physical strength compared to humans, we are still the dominating figures. And if you think about it, this is the reason why. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a very conscious or an active superpower, because you don't tend to see yourself choosing the smallest of things. Because from the very first few baby steps to the greatest moments in life, it is a chain of decisions and choices we have made. Now when I say the very first few baby steps, I mean quite literally the first few baby steps. And every single steps which we have taken throughout our lives. I mean steps, because one step forward, if you think about it, is a decision or the product of a choice made within yourself in between forward or backward. So it is always a functioning, but not always a conscious, active superpower. Conscious superpower. It is always active, but then not a very conscious superpower. Now, that is the reason why most of these successful people tell us to be or to know thyself before you judge someone else. Because self-awareness and control over decisions and choices go hand in hand. They're directly proportional. The more self-aware you are, the more control over decisions you get. Now, for talking about revolutionary people, talking about successful people, these people, when you think about it, let's say for example Steve Jobs, he changed our complete view on computers. Because before Apple, computers were something completely different. But Apple brought about a complete change in the computer sector. Jeff Bezos, he changed how we looked at online markets to shop, to trust our money with. So he created an overall global trust with the online shopping industry. So that means if Steve Jobs chose to not give a damn about the revolutionary invention which his friend had made and wasn't aware of the potential hidden inside it, he would have led on with his normal life, and we would never know who Steve Jobs was. Even though someone else would do it, but then it wouldn't be Steve Jobs. And if Jeff Bezos was happy flipping burgers at McDonald's, he would still be flipping burgers at McDonald's. There would be no Amazon. But then someone else would have chosen to decide to make something out of the internet, and someone else would have made it with another name. Then it wouldn't be Jeff Bezos. So the end result is our choices and decisions are what define us, are the things which people will remember us by, because that is what leads us into our end product. Or it is pretty much choices. The chain of choices and decisions is the manufacturing process of our end goal. So how we make it, so if we do a wrong step in the manufacturing process, there's going to be a manufacturing defect. So just like that, when you use your powers into the wrong ways, there's going to be consequences. Now, there's such a saddening statement which I constantly hear as a student, or specifically as an Indian student. And that is, my parents want me to choose this, but then my passion is something else. I want to choose something else. I'm pretty sure you've heard this at least from one friend in your lifetime if you're an Indian student. If you're some other kind of student, you must have heard it. But if you're an Indian student, I'm pretty sure at least once from one person you've heard it. Now, what exactly is happening? And if you are the person who have told this statement to your friends, who have told this line to your friends, this next half of the video, just try to show it to your parents, because I'm pretty sure they'll be enlightened with the decisions they've made for you. So, what exactly is happening here? Why does someone tell such a statement? That is because someone has control over your decisions or your superpower called choice. Now, in this case, it is parents. Now, if parents, you're watching this, just listen to this small part, this few minutes, and I think you might be shown the right path, because you will always, some way or the other, have someone who has a little bit of authoritative control over your decision or over your freedom of choice. Now, in case of your parents, or let's say a king, okay? A king, you cannot go and tell the king to step off of the throne and let me rule because he's doing it wrong. If you tell that, you might end up in prison or something. But you can show him the right path. You can show the king how to rule, or the benefits of ruling in that path or taking that path, and the demerits of not choosing that path. And eventually he'll be convinced that there's some kind of mistake he's doing in his way of ruling. So that is what I'm trying to do here. So what are the consequences of restricting someone off of their freedom of choice? The first or the most likely thing that can happen, there are two of them, okay? So the most likely thing that could happen is that the person tends to accept the fact that they're only capable of what they're exposed to. Now, that is not only concealed to that person. It's a natural human characteristics, because humans tend to accept that they're capable of only what they're exposed to. Because the dreams which I see here in the United Arab Emirates, seeing all these huge buildings and huge creations, will be much bigger than the dreams which a child in the village of... They're not exposed to such great creations by others that they think it is pretty impossible for them, because their daily motive is to get one day meal or a meal 3 times a day. So dreams vary according to exposure, and passions vary according to exposure. So now what exactly you're doing is, when you restrict them of their freedom of choice, you're drawing a tiny little circle around them and telling them this is the safe zone, and choose inside that safe zone. Pretty much be a lawyer because it's certain you're going to get paid. Don't follow painting or arts because it's not so certain, right? Because as humans, we feel safe where there is certainty. That's something, again, a natural phenomenon for humans. Now, what is the second most likely thing to happen? Now, in the first case, it's when there is when there is complete restrictions, like there is no freedom of choice. In the second case, when it's too late to give it. It is pretty much like when you restrict an 8-year-old child off of ice creams for a very long time and buy him an ice cream truck, a complete ice cream truck just for himself, and tell him unlimited ice cream with an ice cream man doing all whatnot. Now, what do you think are the possibilities that this kid becomes a diabetic patient at like his early 20s, or he gets a cold every week, or he eats too much ice cream that he's fed up of ice creams. He loses his appetite for ice creams. So when you take it to the real world, that is exactly what is going to happen, because when you're too late to give the freedom, the kid or the student or the child, he or she is going to take uncontrolled advantage of the newfound freedom and end up in various troubles, or a huge trouble one altogether. And because of this, he's going to get fed up of trying and eventually give up and get back into that safe zone and just revolve around it, inside it forever. Now, the end product of these two is a 85 or an 80-year-old man or woman who regret not using their superpower to complete potential in their lives. And regretting or having regret within you at that age is something like the biggest poison ever. So for parents listening, let your children follow their passion. Let them see the real world, because there's no possible way that you can protect them from the real world forever, because it is a scary world out there. It is dark, it is risky, but then you cannot protect them forever. So it is better to prepare them for the real world at the early stages by letting them choose. So for students and children or teenagers my age, what I have to tell you is you have a certain obligation towards your parents. You have certain expectations you'll have to meet with your parents. Now, the path which they show you might be different from what you have to take, but then that expectation still stays. And in very generic form, it is just to see you succeed. So that is what they actually want, and the paths which they show you are the safest ones. But then if that's not what you want to follow the ones which you love, because otherwise you're never going to meet those expectations. You're eventually going to end up following the other path or nothing at all. So I hope you guys are convinced that you guys are superheroes and you have a very powerful superpower. Put it to use, and because that is what you'll be remembered by. That's what people will talk in your funeral. So your decisions are what defines you. Keep that always in mind. Your choices are what define you. I'll see you all next week. If you found a little bit value from this video, I kind of enjoyed making this video. So if you guys found a little bit value out of this video, do share it amongst your friends. And it is, as an 18-year-old, it is a bit of a, it's not that professional when I say it. But when you think about it in your professional way, in how you can interpret it, I think it might be of a little bit value for you. I'll see you all next week with another episode of Mindset Therapy. Until then, bye-bye.